2020, baby.
2020 vision. Young Bree.
In the fucking building.
You know what the hell going on.
Oh, look at all this rock and roll.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, we feel legit being in the actual studio, you know? Our studio.
That's what I'm talking about. That's right.
And we got, we're not sponsored by this joke.
This is our pretend sponsor.
Yeah. We're just practicing for the real.
We're just cheap. Tip touch.
What is up, everybody? We're back again once live in the studio.
Yeah, here we are.
2020, new year, new everything, like they say. Isn't that what the young kids say nowadays? New me, new year, new me.
Know you know me.
Yeah. Is that what it is? Sorry,
I guess so,
I'm the old guy of the group. You're gonna have to keep me posted, keep me informed with everything.
It's me again, once Eduardo. I'm here with my co-host Brett, and today I'm just gonna jump right straight to it. We have a really special guest today. It's been in the works and in the making. Young Bree.
Yeah. Welcome in. Thanks for coming on.
Man. Thank you guys for having me.
For sure. So before we start, this session of this podcast, my friend Brett would want to talk about
my friend Brett,
my co-host, friend, whatever. You have two pieces of work, lovely work that you want to show. And
hey, man,
show.
It's cool.
Everybody.
The cool thing about this podcast is, like I said, I was telling these guys earlier, we start. It's 420, by the way. I just noticed, but we're talking to these people. We have some really good conversations, and the cool thing is we'll do a podcast, and then sometimes people will come back with something else, just to kind of I don't know, just it's cool. They have the good conversation, and so we had a couple of things I want to show off. A couple of guests that we had. We had Erica Shantini from Malaysia.
Ooh,
she actually did some art, so I'll get this all framed up. And she did the Tip Touch logo.
That's actually very nice.
Yeah, man.
Handmade and everything.
Hard work.
Took her some time. So Erica, thank you. And that's really cool. And then story behind this. This actually comes with a story. This was from Luis, who is our
Shout
tattoo
out to Luis, Leslie Lou
artist.
Tattoos.
And so the idea he had when we were in the studio at my place,
The White House.
Yeah, the White House.
The White House.
Because it's an inside joke. Because I'm the president of our HOA, so we naturally the White House if you're president. But so up on the wall, I have a Van Gogh painting where when he was a student, they were doing an anatomy painting, right? Okay. So he was learning how to do that. So he was bored in class or whatever. However the story goes, here we're gonna have to play with these little things here. But he was bored and he puts a cigarette on the skeleton, right? So Luis saw that he's an artist, right?
Yeah,
so he's
sure.
gonna notice that kind of stuff. So when he was doing his tattoo training, he was learning how to shade and all that. He was doing this. He ends up giving his little model there a scar above the eye.
Oh, shit, okay.
And so anyway, he said, yeah, man, I want you to have that. So we're going to frame these up, put them in our studio.
What's in the back of that? Is there anything in the back of that?
Oh, yeah. He had like Superwoman on the back of that.
Oh, okay.
With some
Maybe I could get a two-side frame.
Yeah.
That'd
be dope. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's filthy.
Yeah,
so Luis, Erica, thank you guys very much.
Appreciate it very much.
But now, enough about that. We got a guest in the house.
Yeah. The one and only.
Let's get it.
What's up? How did this all start? How did this situation start? How did we cross paths with young Bree?
So, first of all, shout out to Trippy Barber, Milka.
Shout out Trippy Barber.
For sure. I got to say that first and foremost because I feel with her, it was more of that solid networking. She had told me, hey, you should really interview this up-and-coming rapper.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, I
think she gave you a shout-out when she was on the podcast.
She did. Yeah, I think she did. So, I did a little bit of research, and she sent me some stuff, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But I listened to a few tracks, and I'm like, I'm gonna keep it real. I really to listen to somebody that's coming up,
yep,
I really don't take my time to really even bother with it. Just because I'm not just giving 1,000. Just because I'm giving 1,000.
No pressure.
So, I listened to a few tracks and I'm like, this dude can spit. Like, yep. I was I'm feeling this music.
Yeah.
And I forwarded you some stuff too.
Yep.
And you said you liked it.
I was impressed.
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing, so like when it comes to hip hop, the new stuff, like the mumble rap,
Right.
it's very hard for me to get behind.
I can't get with it. I'm
because
sorry, man.
I can't relate, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not in the drug culture. I'm not living this promiscuous life. I'm just trying to pay the rent, man. You know
That's
what I mean?
where I-
kid, man.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I go with my music. I'm like, I kind of want to make something where everybody can relate to it, because if you can relate to it, there's like a bigger chance that you'll listen to it. You feel me?
And it wasn't even that. It was that, and when I was listening to I was like, it was almost nostalgic in a way that you were taking what I loved about hip hop.
Yeah.
Back in like the 90s and the early 2000s, and then you were meshing it with today's, to where you could still talk to the youth, right?
Bringing
Because
in the
really,
sauce.
yeah, because that's really what music is for the youth, right?
Right.
And when you're old music, all the old people, that's why they always listen to their AC/DC and their old stuff, right? Like the people, they just listen to what they listen to. So what you're doing though is you're bringing almost like this classic feel of what hip hop was in its golden era, and then taking it with the new stuff. And I just thought, dude, that's hot. That's
I
hot.
appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you said it pretty well when you said you kind of you talked about things that actual people can relate to, some real life
Right,
stuff,
yeah.
Yeah.
And it, like with the whole mumble rap, to me, I think I was a little bit more like hard on that. Like there's some stuff that I'll listen to, but it's the fact of the matter that you can understand what this dude's saying first and foremost. But it's some real stuff.
Yep.
I mean, and like I said, I was impressed first and foremost.
So yeah, talk about some of the stuff that you do talk about, and sort of maybe some of the stories behind some of your
And
songs.
the music. So as for my music, like I kind of like to talk about the things that I've been through. And straight out of high school, I just kind of went crazy. Started doing a whole bunch of stupid shit. I mean, I started out there selling drugs and whatnot. I started doing a couple like party drugs or whatever. Started drinking a lot, and I kind of realized like this is not the way to go. You feel me?
So you're from Monroe, right?
Yeah.
So there, is it more of a, like when you were in high school, was it just more of the norm, like, skipping school and, going out and party, drinking and all that? Was it kind of more like that? Or, I mean,
It was really more, I would just skip school and stay to myself. I would skip school, go home, smoke weed, chill, listen to music, freestyle with my friends once in a while.
okay.
I really started the partying once I graduated high school. That's when my parents kind of started letting me go out too, because like Hispanic parents are strict.
For sure.
And after high school, I felt like the man. I was like, okay. I'm out of high school. It's over.
You're 18.
Like,
I'm like,
I get
the
to do
world's
what I
mine,
want.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, sorry to cut you off, but so like you were saying about your parents being strict and all that, were they more strict when you were in high school? Like they wouldn't let you go out, so you were kind of more like rebellious in a way, to where like, if my pops or mom not gonna let me go out, I'm just gonna do it.
So check this.
All right.
My parents are pastors, right?
For sure.
So it was like, so they were like strict. They were on some like no secular music, no secular this, like you can't do this, can't do that.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it kind of just like it built sneaky kids, We would
for
do
sure.
things without trying to let them know what we were doing. And yeah, I just got rebellious, and just at one point I said fuck it, and just started
You
doing it
always
anyways.
see that with pastors' kids a lot,
Yeah.
Mostly like we always know that the pastor's daughter, she's nothing but trouble, and everybody knows that. But tell us about the pastor's son.
Well, I mean,
exactly. Yeah. Let's jump.
I
on
don't
that.
know. I like appreciate my parents though, because
For sure.
like whether I saw it or not, like what they kind of like build me on, like the doctrine, well my doctrine, like they taught me what was right, what was wrong. So when I was out there doing my shit, I knew what was wrong. I knew when I saw Bad Friends, I knew, and then when I started doing rap, I was like, I could see that hanging out with all those people doing all those things wasn't taking me anywhere. I was just stuck in a place.
What was the moment where you decided that though?
I want to say it was like a year after I graduated. I started kicking it with these friends, and we started like selling drugs, like I said, and we just started doing like bad shit. I got really bad habits, and my life kind of just went to shit.
Yeah.
I crashed my car, I lost his jobs, and everything was just going downhill, like my parents told me about, So at that moment, I was like, yo, and I was still doing rap, but I wasn't progressing with them because they were doing rap too. You feel me?
Yeah.
But we just never got nowhere. And I was like, yo, if I want something to change, I gotta change something. And that's kind of at that moment when I was all right. Like I'm gonna start kicking it with you guys. And it was hard because they were like brothers at one point. You feel me?
Man.
For sure.
Because we went through all those hard things together. Like I left my house for weeks. I wouldn't come back. I was out there doing hot boy shit. But then I realized like this isn't the life to live.
Yeah,
like I gotta get further with this rap thing. So I can really say rap kind of changed. No, it saved me. You feel me?
Yeah.
And it changed my ways too.
So that was kind of like your escape in a sense to where that's when you realized you wanted to take this full force and go for 110%.
No, that's when I know like I need to take this to the next level because I could see that I had something, you know.
Dude.
Nice. So what was what was the actual how'd you really get into rapping though? Like what was the one thing where you're like, oh, I feel like I can freestyle, throw some raps on there, or, you know, spit some bars.
Okay, so I could always play instruments. Like ever since little, like I play piano, I play drums, I play a little bit of bass and guitar and all that, and I'd play that for church. And my dad would have like all these Christian rappers come to events that he would make, and then they would like make these like freestyle competitions. And I was a little ass kid. I was like 10, 11. I'd hop on there. I'd freestyle. I'd win second place. And I was like, okay. I was like, say less.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we just started freestyling with my friends. And they started telling me like, yo, like you got something, you know, like you're good with it. Like you're filthy with it.
Sure.
And then I just started. I told myself one day when I was like young, I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm not good at anything else. Like I suck at school. That's what I told myself because I wouldn't try, you know. So I said I'm just gonna keep on practicing. One day it might actually be something. And well, shit, here we are, you know.
Man, that's awesome.
And just going into when he was talking about playing his instruments, you had a nice piece where you were playing the piano.
The piano, yeah,
bro.
Wow.
It was just good, dude. Like like I said, it's
I appreciate that.
Got a piano right here.
Yeah, man. We should do that. But it really like. I'm really picky, man. I'm really picky when it comes from these dudes that are trying to start up, you know, from the ground up. But I respect it because they're going for their dreams. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But with him, it's like, you know, plays his instruments. He's got some bars, and you know, some of the music that he's coming out with, it's solid, dude.
Man.
It's solid, and I like that type of
We're gonna be hearing something today.
Sweet 16.
We don't have any beat, do we?
We didn't. Let's talk about the latest compilation you threw out though. 48 hours.
42 hours.
42 hours.
Yeah.
48.
48 hours. That's so many hours you worked last week. That's why.
42 hours.
That's how long I've been awake, man. I haven't even slept yet. But yeah, talk about that, man.
Man, when I think of 42 hours, I think of sacrifice, yo.
Really?
Oh yeah, I'm not even gonna lie. Like people think like, oh, we went on this trip. It was dope. We all had fun.
Yeah.
No, it was sacrifice, yo. Like, so basically, shout out my boy Pinata. He just got together a group of people. He's a mastermind, yo. He said he picked out a group of people that he thought were filthy with the mic and a couple producers and a photographer. And he saw something, you know, like he visualized it and he freaking brought it together. And we went to this island, Anderson Island, and we went out there. And literally, as soon as we got there, like that's when I realized, like, yo, like these people are about it too. Like, I'm not the only one out here doing this shit.
For sure.
We get there, everybody unpacks their shit. They start playing vinyls. They started making beats from scratch. Like it was like some movie type shit.
Like off the rip.
Yes, bro. It was like, and as soon as they were playing the vinyls, like me and my friends took out our notebooks, we started writing, and like this is what I feel this part. Like we had our verses almost done, and then we hear when they put the drums into action, we were like, "Yo,
it's gonna be."
Yeah, we were like, "Yo, this is legendary." You know,
and I think that's the best way to even go for it from an organic standpoint, where like it's starting from scratch and building something that you know is gonna hold down.
Man,
and I've listened to a couple tracks, and dude, it's a solid piece of work, bro.
Appreciate that, man.
Shout out to everybody that was.
So 42 hours. How do people get a hold of it?
We got it on Spotify, iTunes. We're gonna be posting it on YouTube soon, and we're gonna try to get some visuals out for it too, because we got a lot of good feedback.
For sure,
especially from my hometown. They're like, "Yo, this is the shit we needed right now. This is boom bap." You feel me?
Nice.
Yeah.
Boom bap.
That's awesome. But yeah, like I said, shout out to everybody on that record or on that EP, or what do you want to call the album?
Yeah, appreciate
it's solid,
that.
bro. It's
But
solid.
like I was gonna take it back. Like as for like why I said it was a sacrifice, because like check this, we were out on an island like. We barely brought enough food, right? We were so focused on our music that we didn't want to leave the fucking cabin we were at. We were just fucking eating noodles, fucking drinking soda. Like, we didn't want to leave. We were there to fucking work.
Okay.
Like, and it was kind of like friendly competition. Like, this guy was writing his verse and I wanted mine to be harder. And then my boy wanted his to be harder than mine.
So you motivated each other.
Yeah, so we were all just going out. And, yeah, like I said, we had fucking little to no sleep. I want to say we had like fucking 4 to 8 hours the whole time being there. We would just fucking get a little nap. We'd get back to it, fucking write again, record, and it was exhausting. I'm not gonna lie, but like the project that we made from that, like.
Yeah.
It's
Like
the,
it was worth
sacrifice,
it. You feel me?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Wow.
that's what I was telling. I was like, honestly, that was just sacrifice. That was straight sacrifice. But it was dope. Like it really built me more as an artist too, because I saw the way that they work, and I was like, damn, like they got some fucking work ethic too. You feel me?
Yeah, that's the difference, right? Because you can, especially in the music industry, especially when people are coming up, there's a lot of people that kind of flake off, right, along the way. And like you were talking about with your friends that you had to kind of leave behind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was young. Eddie knows that when I was young, I used to play in the rap game, right?
Yeah,
but I was in
yeah.
Montana.
In Montana.
Yeah, nobody wanted to hear songs about about goats and
horses.
milking cows and
country
bucking
life, right?
bales, so I had to quit. No, no, but I remember like when we were same thing, like where you're talking about that friendly competition. There was this kid. We had an album called actually the name of our group was Souls That Remain Unheard, right? And
I actually like that.
and it was cool because the kid that I was with, he was from Vegas, and he came up to sort of kind of clean up his act, and his name was Tech, and God bless him, he's passed on, and
R.I.P.
but it was cool because you talk about that friendly competition. We would sit down and we'd have the beat like, and we're feeling it, and then he'd throw his verse down, and he was always more crafty with the lyrics than I was. I was more of like the I loved Tupac, where he wasn't. It was like Tupac and Biggie, where Biggie was much more lyrical than Tupac, right? But Tupac had the fire, the flow, and so that's what I
had
loved.
that delivery.
Oh yeah,
that's
and
what it
so
was.
that was always like my inspiration was him, but then he was like much lyrical.
Yeah.
And so we'd sit down and we'd do that. We'd have that friendly competition. I'm like,
yeah.
oh shit, he just smoked me.
It honestly brings out a different animal.
Oh,
Before
for
we
sure.
get forward, shout out my boy Chrissy P. Shout out my boy Ross. Shout out my boy Pinata, Wizard. Everybody on the trip, Sham, Aurelio, everybody, bro. I gotta give him a shout out.
Nice.
Abra Music, Pinata.
Yeah, man, you gotta get on that, bro. I'll
Man.
forward you the link for that.
Yeah,
You gotta listen to it
yeah,
and let me know what you
definitely. I'll
think.
definitely check that out. And we on our Instagram page, we'll definitely throw some of that
support
stuff
for
out
sure.
there
Appreciate
too.
that,
for
yeah,
sure.
for sure.
So when we started kind of having conversations before this session, I was kind of I think the last thing I was talking about was being independent. To you, knowing that everything has shifted in a sense where you don't have to get a record deal no more. It's more about you can actually do this, upload it to YouTube or whatever, and you're pretty much taking over.
Right, yeah.
So when did you know for sure that like when you put your very first pieces of work, like the first couple songs, that you knew that you had something going? Like when was the first time
All
that you
right,
saw
so
that?
check this. My first song. The first song I ever made, yo. I dropped it, and it was like just out of nowhere. Like nobody knew that I wanted to rap except for my close friends, and we would just freestyle all the time.
Sure.
And I put out my first track, and it hit 1,000 plays in 4 days. And like
Oh,
for me,
shit.
for barely starting,
Yeah.
I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna lie, the song was ass. Like I go back to hearing it now, and it's just straight auto tune. It's like fucking nursery rhymes, but like it hit 1,000 plays in like 4 days. You feel me? And everybody was like, yo, you got something. Like keep on doing it.
Yeah.
And then from then it's just like, okay, let's go, yo, let's get it.
Is there anyone where you were sort of inspired by coming up? Like,
For sure.
What
Yeah,
are some of your influences?
I got Tupac for sure, but Tupac's not even because of his music. Like I love his music, don't get me wrong, but I just love how he was a mogul, man. Like people looked up to him. He was always there for his community. You feel me?
Yeah.
And he always started movements, and I really fuck with that because at one point, like, I mean, I could start now, so I'm gonna start doing it. I'm gonna start working with my community, try to help people out. You feel me?
Okay.
Man.
But I look up to him. I look up to my boy Fora from California. I started hearing him when he had like 10,000 followers on freaking Instagram. Right now he's like at 1 million.
Wow.
So like I saw him like come up from like
Nothing.
yeah,
to, like,
from
being-
nothing.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
crazy because I
What's
like
his name again? I've never.
Fora, Phora.
Huh. Okay.
I'll have to
Uh,
check
he-
it out.
yeah,
I'll
he's
have
from
to check it out.
Cali. Like,
Cool.
Go back to his old albums. It's just raw hip hop too. You feel me?
Yeah.
Man.
So I like look up to him because like he made it. So like it's real. You feel me? If you
Yeah,
put in the
for
work,
sure.
if
Yeah,
you put in the
definitely.
work, like it's real. You
Definitely.
Keep going with your influence. I have another.
know. I want to say Fora. Who else? King Lil G, because he's Hispanic.
Yeah. I heard some of his stuff.
Yeah,
He's solid.
and he's out there.
Yeah.
Self-provoked for sure. More Cali guys.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly all Cali.
Cool. So a lot of
Yeah.
West Coast.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's probably why I feel it so much because the East Coast they were more of the lyrical, whatever, but the West Coast was always just like, man, the vibe,
The
right?
groove, the funk, all of that. Yeah.
For sure.
And that's what I'm a West Coast guy, so I feel it.
You could definitely tell the significant differences from East and West. Just type of beats and also just the delivery.
Right.
With
Yeah.
Rap too. So yeah.
So you're young.
Oh,
You're
hold up. I need to say one more. I
Yeah.
forgot to say him. And Joey Badass and Capital Steez in the pro era.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
dude.
Joey Badass.
I had to say that, man.
Yeah, I like his raps. Like Joey Badass is cool.
But what I was saying was you're young, right?
Mhm.
And you have so much in front of you.
Right.
And and this is going to be hard to answer because you don't know. We don't know what's in store. But say something pops off, and all of a sudden your light grows, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden you're making it. You're getting big. You're getting successful. You're known all over the world. You talk about wanting to help the community, but we also know that in the music industry, there's a lot of snakes, a lot of
Right.
bad influences, a lot of stuff that is appealing to. Maybe it's money, maybe it's whatever it is, whatever temptations you have in your life, it's out there. And so how do you right now ground yourself to where you can be ready for that?
So all right, so I'm gonna get to this, bro. I was a heavy ass smoker. I smoked weed like crazy. Like I started smoking when I was 13, right? And not too long ago, I told myself like, yo, like you need to get to another level. Like stop doing it. And it was hard to fucking quit smoking weed. I'm not gonna lie, it was fucking hard. I quit smoking weed. I don't drink as much as I used to. I stopped smoking nicotine, and it's kind of just like it's not something big, but for me it really was. Cause like I kind of trained myself, and I was like, okay, like you need to stop doing this shit.
Yeah.
And I kind of disciplined myself, and I disciplined myself to write every single day. And like I said, like my parents, like the way they disciplined me in church, like now I kind of like know, like you know what I'm saying. Like I know what's good, I know what's bad, and I'm always like I try to pray as much as I can too.
Yeah.
Because I feel like having a relationship with God is very important. So I feel like whatever comes my way, like I'm gonna be ready. You feel me? And God's gonna guide me through it.
Yeah. And so you're gonna meet people along the way that were just like you, that
Right.
smoking, rolling with a tough crowd, toting guns, selling drugs,
Yeah.
and so you have the influence. And what do you do with that?
I gotta steer him in the right way, man. You know, people talk about having OGs, but the OGs are out there still selling drugs, doing all that, trying to get their money. Like, nah, that's not an OG. I told myself, I ain't have no older homies, you feel me? All my older homies was out there doing stupid shit. Like, I'm my own older homie. So I want to be kind of that person that those kids will look up to and be like, okay, like, he stopped and look at the way he's living, you feel me?
Man, that's hot. I
Yeah.
think that's great because we don't see a lot of that. We see it in sports figures.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
We'll see
no, for
Russell
sure.
Wilson, people can whatever, but you don't see it in the hip hop, and I that's just for me, it's missing. Why can we have that in pop music where people can look up to whatever pop sensation there is, but we can't have that in hip hop.
Right.
I don't think that's fair. And I think it
Especially
robs
because
people
the
that
youth,
need it the
yes,
most.
especially because the youth are so into rap.
Yes.
So I get exactly what you're saying.
And,
Yeah.
you know, like, and when I was young, I was in foster care. I lived that rough life, and in a lot of ways, like when I was in it, I hated it. I hated it when all of a sudden I'm coming up and my friends are selling drugs. We're all wearing guns on us. We're looking for fights, and it didn't feel good. But I'd throw on DMX and I'd be like, this is good, because we'd smoke, we'd do all that. But then, your life starts going. You start losing. You're unemployed. You don't have the money, and your friends are getting locked up.
Yeah.
Cops are always on the trail, and it's not fun. I had like I said, my friend, he ended up dying, ODing, and that was hard. A lot of, like, when you're taking L's, all of a sudden you're like, you sort of take stock of your situation. And that's where I knew that, like you had to get rid of those friends. I had to get rid of those friends. I had to move away. I had to get away from everybody, and I had to start all over. I had to reinvent myself, and it was hard. It was a lonely time. But I was just thinking, I listened to those old songs, and the cool thing about like having hip hop, it's so diverse where you can find those people with those good messages, and it's still cool. It's not like Will Smith where you're like, he's trying really hard to come out with a good song, right? You can listen to like Tupac, Never Had a Friend Like Me. Mm-hmm. Like, man, this is like my friend. We're going through some hard stuff. He doesn't shy away from the truth at all. Right. But it's a real, like, he's not out there promoting all the violence and all that. So I think that's always kind of it's always been an element of it, but it's never really been out there.
Yeah, because it's hard. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's kind of hard to be vulnerable with the mic. It's hard to go into a studio and just let out your emotions. Cause a lot of people think guys shouldn't show their emotions or it's like weak or something. Mm-hmm. But like fuck it. Like, it's not being weak. Yeah.
No.
Everybody goes through shit. Exactly. So like just be vulnerable. Let everything out. Like, you're helping people out for doing that. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. And that's where you're going to see it. I know it. So that's awesome. That's great that you're going out there. You're willing to put yourself out there on a limb, because there's going to be that guy, the bully or whatever, the guy that comes in like, oh, that's some weak shit. We just
murder him on the microphone.
That's when the freestyles happen, baby.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, just right off the rip, how did Young Era come about? How did that whole the name of the set? I guess you would want to call it
the Young Era.
Yeah.
Basically, so in my hometown, there's a lot of older cats who were like rapping before like I even thought I was gonna rap, right? Mm-hmm. There was a whole bunch of older dudes rapping, but they would just like rap, but they never took it to a studio. And they were just, and I told myself, I was like, yo, like, I'm young as shit. Like, these guys are all older. And like, they were hating on us at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like all the older cats were hating at us when we started rapping. They're like, oh, this guy can't even spit bars or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I was like, fuck it. Like, this is the Young Era, yo. Like, you guys, I'm not trying to say that they were out of the page, but I was like, you guys had your chance. You guys are all like, they all like have their 9-to-5s, and they're like, and they stayed with their lifestyle and they're comfortable with it. You feel me?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, for me, like I never want to be comfortable
You're
with
sitting
where
there
I'm
like,
at.
okay, boomer.
Yeah, exactly. No, so basically we started hitting the studio, and then people started seeing it, and I'm like, this is the era of the youngins, yo, literally.
That's dope.
And that's what it is. Yeah,
that's dope. And that reminds me, that's actually interesting. You were saying that you like being out of your comfort zone, and that to me speaks volumes, because you want to grind and go further. You don't want to just be in one position to where like you can start off with I can see you going further and going places, and with that could come with doing other stuff like your merch. You want to do. I actually saw on your Instagram that you had a couple shirts that came out. You even said yourself you made 70 sold out within 2 weeks.
Wow.
So
that's crazy, yo. Yeah.
So
So I said, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get some merch out.
Yeah.
Because I kind of wanted to see like who was really supporting, like who was really supporting, like they say they would.
Yeah, for sure.
So I went and I spent, I want to say like $600 to $700 on the merch. And I was like, fuck it. I was like, I'm going to sell this. So I got 70 shirts, and I told my brother, I was like, bet that I can sell these in 2 weeks. He's like, nah. He's like, you're crazy. He's like, you're not selling those in 2 weeks. Practically calling me delusional. And I was like, bet. I was like, say less. Man, I kid you not, I was out there fucking driving to fucking Olympia. I was out everywhere. I was fucking delivering those shirts, yo, and I got rid of them in 2 weeks. Damn, that's how it went. Yeah, man. I was out in Everett. Bro. I was in Everett, Snohomish, everywhere, fucking Linwood, Seattle. I was out there delivering to people's doors. Like, here's your shirt. You feel me?
Yeah,
man.
That's dope. You need to let us know too. Like, I actually meant it when I said that if you release more stuff, I'll support.
No,
bro.
for sure, man.
My friend here will support as well.
I'll for sure keep you guys in the loop.
You need to get. I was reading an article. They were talking about in Seattle. There's a company, a weed company. whatever, and they're getting ready to deliver use drones,
With the drones.
to deliver, right? That's what you need to get on, right?
Yeah,
And tell me this though: how did a weed company beat Jeff Bezos? He was the
Amazon's
one
in
that
that
was
shit.
talking
I
about
know.
that.
Yeah, they were gonna do that way before too, right?
I mean, but
Yeah.
to be honest, I'm just waiting to see it happen. Cause like I said, like Amazon was talking about doing that for so long.
Yeah.
So like I'm not even gonna speak on that until I see them fucking drones dropping a fucking ounce in people's doorsteps.
What do you think is gonna happen though? You got the drone flying, and you know that there's up to 85
Man, they
kilos
gonna get
of
robbed.
pot.
They gonna get robbed,
There's a lot of
yo.
people shooting those things down, bro.
Nah, yeah, dead ass. They're finna get robbed for that.
What do you think? You think that's a good idea though?
To be honest, no. But
Uh.
I mean, who doesn't want to see a drone fucking deliver them weed? You feel me?
Yeah, well, I think that it could lead to so many other things. I find it absolutely funny that the lazy stoner was the one that came up with the technology.
Stoner,
That's
yeah.
some Star Trek
Hey,
shit.
they bashed on the stoners for so long.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, stoners on the come up.
Yeah, shit.
But that's what you got to get on. Get on that drone
them
delivery
fucking
with your
drones
shirts,
delivery
man.
merch,
With the merch.
Dead
Hey,
ass.
there's a CD in there too.
Be like, hey, I dropped my tape in there too.
Bro,
Yeah.
hey man, you can keep that in the arsenal, you know.
So I'm saying.
So have you seen the demographic of where they're listening to your music heavily? Aside, I'm assuming a lot of people from here in Washington State listen to a
Yeah,
lot.
so there's a lot of people in Portland, Seattle, Federal Way. I got a lot of people in Cali too.
Cali?
Yeah,
Oh,
they've been
okay.
hitting me up to go out there and like have shows and shit.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
okay.
so I definitely
Cool.
want to wait a little longer till I put on more projects. But I got people in Mexico too.
Oh really?
Yeah. No,
Damn.
like it shows you like where people be listening to your music.
Yeah.
Oh, in the UK.
UK.
Yeah, so I actually the person who masters my music is from Australia.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Oh,
so he'd be out there promoting my music.
That's
so
dope.
so it always shows me there's hella people
It's a
listening
small
to my music.
world, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. No, and I told myself like, yo,
His
get
house is probably on
connections
fire right now,
everywhere.
though.
Yeah,
the front fire.
Yo, for shit.
So that's for me that I've always noticed, like when you have people coming up that are really prospering, they start off with touring like over there in the UK. I've noticed
Yeah.
that's kind of a thing, right?
Yeah,
Like, would
actually,
you ever do that? Like if
Yeah, I would. If it was a possibility, I definitely would. Like, I want to get out there and see all the cultures. You feel me? Like,
Yeah, man.
I want to see everything. I feel like in the United States, it's just a box of like. I mean, there is a lot of culture here, but I feel like I need to really get out there. You know what I
Good,
mean?
for
Like,
sure.
That's how you get to know the world. Like we were just talking before you showed up. I went to the Philippines for Christmas and New Year's, and it's just so nice, man. I was in South Korea for a layover or whatever, but you see the people there in the Philippines, and it's just like it's so nice to get away from America because our culture is just so like. We're so driven by money. It's money everything revolves around money here. Money this, money this. We gauge ourselves with how successful we are by our bank account.
Yeah.
You go to the Philippines, they don't care how much money they have. You know, I mean, no one wants to be poor,
Right.
but they don't look at someone and be like, "Oh, how much money do you have?" "Oh, okay, I'm not gonna roll with you."
yeah.
You know, it's just not like that. They're just always having a good time.
right? Yeah.
And it's just I'm much like you. I just want to go to these other countries, and I think that we, especially as Americans, can learn from that.
No, for sure.
that's dope.
Yeah, that's cool.
So have you, now that you're on this road to leveling up, because I can see that you're growing your fan base, you're getting more music out there. Is there anybody in particular that you would want to work with, or a couple of people that you would want to work with when you get to that point where like, okay, people are hitting you up, hey,
When I get
let's
to
do a
that
track and
point.
all that,
Yeah, I got a lot of people in mind.
Yeah,
Actually,
like what's the number one? Who's the number one artist you would
number
want to
one,
like?
I want to collab with. Okay, you're gonna have to give me a second for that. Number one person, dude. I'm gonna have to go with Fora, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fora? Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
man.
I've been on the stage with him before. We
Oh,
were
really?
Like, yeah, we were
Okay.
rapping one of his songs. This was like
Wow.
back in 2000. I think it was like 15. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
15.
when he was barely coming up. There was like, I want to say there was like maybe 70 heads at the concert. Like,
Wow.
And now he has sold out tours and shit. So like, I definitely
wow.
want to. I definitely want to collab with him.
So tell me
That's cool.
Tell me the feeling that you had when you actually went up to like a stage and actually performed your stuff.
Oh, when I performed my shit, man, it was crazy.
Were you nervous? Like I'm assuming you're
Dude,
nervous. That's the first thing that. I feel,
honestly,
too.
I was like, I was a little bit nervous before getting there, and then I got there, and I'm like, let's fucking go, yo. This is what I've been trying to do.
Some
Bro.
Eminem stuff.
Dude.
Puking.
Wow.
8 Mile
No,
stuff.
dude. Oh my god, I got too fucked up at that freaking performance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, after, I was fine on the stage. I got off the stage and I was puking. I was
Yeah.
fucking yes, dude.
Holy
Wow.
Yeah, no, I was fucked
Damn.
up.
Yes,
Dude,
man.
have you ever had any when you're on tour or just in general, any type of beef with any other artists that you were like you didn't expect or?
No, not really. I mean, when I went to Cali, I got to make music with some big artist called I Suppose. He's not that big, but he's big. Like I said, he was managing for King Lil G and all of them, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I got to rap with him in the studio, and I never got the fucking track back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was like, yo, like I was out in AZ, I was out in Cali, like doing all this, and I don't get the track back. You feel me? And I was supposed to get a video too, so I was a little bit upset about that, and I guess that's really the only beef because I'm a pretty like passive person. I don't like beef, you know.
Yeah,
like, if you
yeah.
got beef with me, like say it to my face or like it's her, you know. Like I don't care.
Man, I come in the rap game as a vegetarian.
Nah, but so basically, I reached out to him and I was like, yo, you know, I don't think it was very fair that I didn't get the track back. And he's like, okay. He's like, bet. So we already have it set up where he's gonna come out here and we're gonna record another video and all that. So I was okay. I was like, all it took was to really just talk to him.
Okay.
So that was it.
Yeah.
That's So that's one thing too that when you brought that up. There's so much ego, I feel like, especially like in the rap game, right? Where like everybody wants to get to that top pinnacle, you know?
Yeah.
So for you, aside from, beef and all that, have you ever had any situations to where like you reached out to somebody and, you wanted to do a track with them and they were just kind of like, nah, you're not that big demographic wise. Why would I even want to, do a collab or whatever?
I guess the worst has just been getting left on scene.
Okay.
Yeah, because besides that, when you hit up somebody and they're like down, it's usually they want a lot of money for a verse.
Okay.
And it's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, maybe I wanted to check out with you, but not that bad.
Not that bad.
Not that bad to be paying like $700 for a verse. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like I'm good, you know.
Okay.
Weren't you saying one time that Daz Dillinger was charging $1,000 for a verse?
Something like that. You know Daz Dillinger, right? From the Dog Pound?
California.
Daz?
Remember Daz and Corrupt?
Daz and
Yeah,
Corrupt.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
For a while, he was doing. I think it was like $1,000, huh? $1,000 for a verse.
$1,000?
Yeah, but he was a nasty producer. He was like
Yeah.
a nasty producer.
No,
he was
dude,
really
there's,
good.
There's people out there charging $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, even like $10,000 for verses. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, like
That's
It's crazy.
yeah.
Do you think it's like? Do you when you say that? Do you feel like, okay, well, just depending on the fact if they're like a really known artist, it is worth the money. But if not, do you just be like, I'm not
Well, I
really.
mean, like, I'm not gonna lie, you guys. Like, I've charged for verses too, but it's like because a lot of people like they tell you, let's make a song. Like, I can't tell you how many people have me up, like, yo, let's make a song, and it never goes through, or like they just waste my time. I record my verse, I get my bars written or whatever, and it doesn't go through. So I can kind of see it like you got to pay that money to like
For sure.
Yeah, to be like make it like a for sure thing because
Yeah.
else they're just wasting their time. At that point, they were wasting my time. Like I could have been writing other verses.
so it sounds
other
like
songs.
smart business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's literally all the business. But I understand that. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like if you're really up there, like you probably got a lot more shit going on. Like, you know, you got a lot more things going on. So I respect the grind. You know,
Yeah.
fuck it.
No, that's
Yeah.
good. And one day you will be charging $10,000 for a
Yeah,
verse.
no.
20K, I know it. 20K, and I know
No,
it.
like if there's people out there who are filthy though, and like I see their shit and like they're
Yeah.
grinding, then they'll for sure be like, "Oh, yup, say less." Like, like I got
Yeah.
you on a verse.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's something more people need to do. You know, like if they see somebody out there grinding, like give them a verse, yo.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Maybe they just need that little push. You feel me?
Yeah,
Sure.
for
Yeah, it's
sure.
almost like charity in a way, just
Yeah.
like you're ahead of the game and you could just offer
Yeah,
that almost like a tithe,
For sure,
Hey,
yeah.
here's my 10%.
Yeah. So tell us about that cipher that you won. That it
Oh,
was.
the Seattle
So
Cypher.
what was that all about?
So this guy named Chase Fade, he's been taking pictures for Dreamville, so for J. Cole, for
J. Cole.
Boss,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
for all of them. So he was out
Cool.
there on tour with them, and he basically he's from Seattle. He's actually from Snohomish.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, which was crazy.
Wow.
Because when he asked me where I was from, I was like, I'm from Monroeville. Nobody knows where that's at.
Yeah.
He's like, bro, he's like, I'm from Snohomish. I feel you. And I was like, okay. I was like, dope. So that was already a connection, right?
Yeah.
But not. So he basically made a contest. It was the Seattle Cypher Challenge or whatever. So he was gonna pick out the filthiest ones on the freaking freestyle, and he's like has like this whole video where he has him come down to like this place. There's like a DJ, and it's like a legit cipher, like the type of ciphers you can look up people and you see like big rappers rapping on, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, like I've seen ciphers like this my whole life. Like I gotta do it.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, yo, but it's a long shot. There's so many rappers in Seattle right now.
For
so
sure,
I was
for
like,
sure.
I don't even know. But then I was like, fuck it, you know? I
Just
was
did
like,
it.
Yeah, I was like, fuck it. And there was, I think there was more than like 150 contestants and shit. And I placed on the fucking cipher.
Wow.
And I was like, yo, I was like, this is fucking insane. I think I actually remember calling you. I called her and I was like, yo, I fucking placed on this shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I was excited.
like where are you at with that then? I mean, like when you're hitting that, like
It's
you're
big.
thinking
That's big.
you don't even have a shot, and all of a sudden you're
literally.
placing.
Yeah, dude, I just remember being stressed out when I was making the video. I was like, fuck. I was like, how do I even approach the cipher?
Yeah.
So I just hit an English verse with a little bit of Spanish in it, and he fucked with it. He said it was unique.
Wow.
And I was like, say less, yeah. And he actually
Nice.
hit me up before he announced it. He hit me up. He's like, yo, you won. He said, that shit was filthy.
Wow.
I was like,
dude.
bet. I was
That's
like,
what's
say
up.
less.
Congrats on
dude.
that,
The other
bro.
thing too is really you don't see a huge Hispanic audience or Hispanic.
Both audience or rappers.
Yeah. So you're somewhat of a leader, really, especially. And that's the cool thing about this area is it's so dynamic. There's so many like I've seen Haitian rappers come out of Seattle. I mean, Seattle is just I love. When it comes to the hip hop game, I love what Seattle represents.
Right, yeah.
But where are you at with that? With being Hispanic in the rap game,
Dude, I feel like, I mean, it's hard to get a like Hispanic audience until you're really up there making moves. You feel me? Because then that's like okay. Because a lot of people, I mean, we're in the United States. They just want to listen to English music, you know. And a lot of times, a lot of people out here don't even understand it. Like, they
so
just
you actually rap in Spanish too, then, huh?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I rap in Spanish, like spit bars in Spanish.
Is that all you do, really?
No. I can spit in English too. Like most of my songs are in English, but nah. So basically, I mean, where I'm from in Monroe, there's a lot of Hispanics there, and I can see them. They're like starting to catch up on it. And in Seattle, I mean, there's a lot of Hispanics here already. So little by little, man, we're gonna start getting all their attention. Yeah,
Man. So it's like not only am I reading my Wheaties box, in Spanish, I'm gonna be listening to all my music in Spanish too now.
No, I mean, most of my work right now is in English, but I'm definitely tapping in with the Spanish a lot more now.
It's because you have a big dynamic group,
Yeah, it's a different audience. It's
I remember
different
back in the
audience.
day, Cypress Hill. I used to love Cypress Hill,
Okay, yeah.
and they put out an album just strictly in Spanish, and I was like, "What?"
You know what's going on when you're out there, like,
Of course, but I just thought, man. And then when Big Pun came out,
Big Pun,
he was, I think, the first solo Hispanic platinum artist to go platinum. And I just thought, man, but I always loved Be Real. I always loved Cypress Hill. But I remember SPM. Yeah, he did his thing, and I love listening to him. But you don't hear that was one thing that's just always, it was white people and Hispanics. I'm like, man, we got to come up. And then Eminem came in.
That was your foot in.
Yeah, I thought for sure he was going to sign me, but he didn't even
sure he was
he
gonna
went with
sign
Yellow
me.
Wolf.
Tell them about your crazy story. I know we've said this story about Sir Mix-a-Lot. Just so you know, you were there, man. You were there.
Oh, yeah. So when I was young, right, Sir Mix-a-Lot, before he was using a walker to get around. No, I'm just playing. He's going to hear that. I'm going to. My posse's on Broadway. So there was a situation where he was performing in my hometown. And so there was this R&B singer. And he was like, man, I need a rapper, because his rapper fell through. And so, I was friends with his sister, and he's like, and so she got me on. I'm like, all right, sweet. So now I'm on stage, I'm performing, and he's like, yeah, we're going to be opening for Sir Mix-a-Lot. So I was like, man, this is my shot. I'm going to make it out of Kalispell, Montana. Kalispell, Montana, 27,000 people population. The closest big city we had was Spokampton, Spokanistan,
baby.
You know what I mean? And so I was like, dude, I'm gonna make it out of the trailer park finally. Finally. And so Sir Mix-a-Lot comes in. He has his whole posse with him, right? And I'm like, oh, this is so awesome. So I sat there with my CD, and we're standing in line to get everything signed. Man, he wanted nothing to do with me. He wanted nothing to do with me. He I think the CD he signed my CD, and a couple of people in his crew signed my CD or whatever. I didn't know who they were, and then I was trying to talk to him. He's like, "Yeah, man," just like all he wanted was to party. He wanted girls, and he lost money. No, the promoter lost money by bringing him in because apparently the venue couldn't bring enough people in. But anyway, I just remember we went home. We went to Denny's that night, and I was just sitting there like, man, I was so depressed. Like, man, I thought for sure I was gonna get found out. But nope, nope.
Hey, but the fact is that you went for it.
Yeah, I went for it. And then I was asking you earlier about the set, right? If you had any beef with any artist. Yeah. So there was this one time, me and this girl. I remember there was this girl. I'm like, man, I need a female rapper with me. And so I would write her rhymes, and so we were like this thing, right? And so we went and we did this performance, and but I kept hearing that there was this rapper out of Atlanta. And he was like the big thing in town because, Kalispell is like 96% Caucasian. And so he was black. And so, of course, he was the big name, right? And like, oh, we gotta hook up with him, Oh, we finally got a black guy in town, And so I kept hearing that he had beef with me, and I'm like, what? Like, I would love to collaborate, I'd love to like be able to sit down and chop it up and get on a song. But he wanted nothing to do with me. And he all of a sudden he had beef. I have no idea. To this day, I don't know. But here's how it goes down. So like, it's just funny. I never told you this story.
You never told me. I'm kind of
because you'll know why. So we're doing our set, and then all of a sudden I'm seeing like him and his crew sort of all around. It was this hotel lobby not a lobby, but hotel banquet room that we were doing this thing. I'm seeing them sort of like up or all around me. I'm like, I'm getting surrounded, and I've been in a lot of fights, and I know when I'm getting surrounded. So we do our set, and then all of a sudden nothing happened. I'm like, that was weird, Well, anyway, so my parents happened to be at this event, right? Because they were like, man, we're going to watch our boy come up, Because if we get out of the trailer park, he's taking me with him, Because they wanted a double wide. We just had a single wide. They just wanted a double wide. That's all they wanted. Oh, but so all of a sudden, my parents, they approached me, and they're like, hey, man, we just stopped an attack. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, man, this guy and his whole crew, they had all these coolers all around, and they had water balloons in their coolers, and they were all going to bombard me with water coolers. They were going to trash my set. Yeah. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And so then he's like, so my mom's husband was like, excuse me, I came all the way here from Columbia Falls to watch my boy. That's my boy on stage. You're not going to throw water balloons at my boy.
Hey, shout out to him. Shout out to him,
dude,
yo.
I almost got bombarded with water balloons. Shit was real.
Instead of getting sprayed with bullets, you're going to spray with water.
Oh, my God.
That's crazy.
Oh, no.
I never heard that one.
But then it got more serious as, because that was, I thought, I was like, I remember I looked at him like, dude, you can find me anytime you want. But that's when I knew that there was beef. Like, as innocent as it was, like the water balloons, me and my crew were going harder. And I was letting them know in no uncertain terms, like, okay, you guys got water balloons, but we got stronger stuff. Yeah, so we never, I remember like because obviously we were one of the very few rap acts in town. And we would always cross paths, but nothing ever happened. So, I don't know what happened. They ended up moving to a different town altogether. We ended up moving, so everything is squashed. But But yeah, I remember that just being a funny thing. Like, dude, seriously?
It's tough in Montana, bro.
Only in Montana, yeah.
It's tough in Montana.
But there were acts. I remember this one guy who was out of Billings, and I forget his name. He was named after some sort of a currency, off a coin or something. But anyway, he was telling me that in some of his stuff, like when he was coming up rapping, he actually got stabbed. Like he was showing me his scar where he just they stabbed his thigh. He almost bled to death. And
Jeez.
so there were some people that were just like taking it a little too serious.
Yeah. I guess they wanted to really, in a sense, kind of live.
That's what we wanted. Yeah. That's why I got out of it, was because, like I said, I had my friends that were selling drugs. I had, and when I started seeing people sort of dying, that's when I was like, all right, man, it's not fun anymore. Yeah. Like I don't want, because I didn't want to have that on my conscience, right. that something I did or something I was influencing,
part of,
was gonna be the end of somebody else's life. I didn't want that.
Yeah.
That's why I stopped selling drugs, yo.
Yeah.
Like real shit, because I was just seeing things and I was like my plug one told me is like, we just sell this shit so they don't live no more. I was like, fuck that, yo. I was like, nah. I was like, this is not who I am.
Yeah, you don't want to go down that road.
Yeah, no. And then that's when I like cut ties with them. Robbed a half pound from him.
That was it.
Of Kush.
I've got family members that have been in prison. I had one. I saw him get. He killed somebody. He killed a 19-year-old with a DUI, and I was 12 when I saw him get sentenced to life in prison without parole. And I just remember, like, damn. And so that left an influence on me to where, like, when I was in my partying stage, I was always the designated driver. Because, I'd been in that courtroom. I'd seen I'd seen two people lose their lives. The girl that got killed, and then him by getting sentenced to life in prison without parole. Yeah. And so that was really rough to see. And then I had another family member who was selling drugs. And he ended up getting busted with 7 felonies on his first bust. And, and then, I heard that when he went into prison, he tried to be the tough guy in prison. And they didn't treat him too well in prison. And I don't talk to any of them. I really have cut ties with a lot of my family just because they couldn't get out of that rut, that the way that they were living. It was just like none of them. I walked away from all of them. And I moved out here and just started all over.
Yeah, that's insane. So you lived in Monroe your whole life?
No, I was born in Chihuahua.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was born in Mexico, Chihuahua.
Okay, so when did you?
I moved out here when I was 5. Yeah, and then I lived in Snohomish for a little bit.
Okay.
So I went to school there my elementary years, junior high, and then I moved out here 8th grade, and that's
Damn. Okay.
What do you think about like all the stuff like with the wall and with people trying to come into America from Central America, from Mexico?
Funny, I was just talking about this with my friend earlier. We were like, yo, we're all fucking living in planet Earth. Why is there fucking borders? Like, why does this side of group think that they're better than the others, so they shouldn't let them come in? Like, because fuck, we should all be able to fucking all see the world. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, fuck a border, like fuck a wall, like fuck all that shit, man. That's how I feel about it, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing that's cool about traveling the world is you see all these different things. I was watching this show on, I think it was Amazon Prime. I think it's a something Clancy book, John Clancy. I don't know whoever that author is, but the show, I think it's called Jack Ryan, and it's him. He's a CIA operative, and he's dealing with the Middle East, and they're talking about all these refugees that are trying to go into Europe because of all the turmoil. Well, I was just thinking about all the turmoil that the cartels that are causing in Central America and Mexico, and I was like, it's no different than what, like, all these people are living every day in fear of their lives, and a lot of them are losing their lives. And I've heard stories where the cartels will go into the business owners and say, I want 50% of everything you're doing. And it's to where this whole set of people, the governments are all corrupt. They're all bought by the cartels. And America is their only hope. Europe is their only hope in the Middle East.
Yeah.
why aren't people opening these up? Because opening the borders up and because you're right. There's one planet. There's enough to go around. And so what if all of a sudden my city becomes a little bit more populated? Maybe my drive to work goes 5-10 minutes longer. Isn't that still better than a whole family losing their lives?
Literally, like, we're humans. You're like,
a daughter getting sold into being trafficking, and you know what I mean? That's where I think that a lot of people are completely missing.
And you're selfish, yeah.
It's very
They
selfish.
just care about their own, and that's it.
And maybe some of them aren't even selfish on purpose. Maybe they just don't even know. They don't realize. They're so blind because wherever they get their news, they don't talk about those cartels killing those people. I think that if people want to open up the eyes of Americans, we've got to go in and have people doing documentaries on this situation in there, because it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking.
It's crazy. And do you ever feel like, your parents came over here with probably the thought that, we want to give our kids or kid a better life than what we had when we were younger? Because I feel like, my parents both came over here. I was born here. I was luckily born here in the States. But
barely.
Barely. I know, right? But I always just had this whole thought in my head, like, I have this opportunity to make something of myself, and really invest myself into do stuff like with the podcast, with streaming, with other stuff that we have planned. But I want to take full opportunity to do this. Now, have you ever felt like that? Like, do you ever think about it?
Yeah, for sure. Literally, when I was out there doing stupid shit, like, I was like, yo, like, my parents came all the way this way. Like, they went through all that, like, for me to be out here and, like, be somebody. And I'm out here just fucking shit up. And that's when I thought, I was like, my parents are getting older by the day. And, like,
for sure.
I don't realize it because I'm growing myself,
Yeah.
So I had to sit down and really evaluate everything. And I was like, okay, like, I need to get my shit together for them,
Definitely.
Man.
So are they really supportive of what you're doing right now?
At first they weren't really supportive. They were like, well, actually no. At first they were like, yeah, go for it, because I was fucking young, They didn't think I would actually go on.
Let him
with
get it out of his system.
Yeah, exactly. And then like, I want to say like a year ago, they were just like, nah, like, you need to do something. Like, you really need to start a career, like, go to school or some shit,
Sure.
like I graduated high school, but I don't fuck with school that much. I know later on, like, I'm gonna go to school and, like, just try to learn more shit.
Okay.
But they weren't really supportive. They were basically just telling me, like, get a real job, like do something, you feel me? And I was like, yo, music is gonna be a real job.
Doing the parent thing, right?
Yeah,
That's what every parent's job is.
I'm like, yo, I'm getting my money right now, how I am, and, like, later on it's gonna be music full time. And they didn't really see it, but I want to say, like, not too long ago, they started seeing it. Like, I told them, like, oh, I'm going to go perform. Oh, I have a studio session. Oh, I got chosen for this Seattle Cypher. So they kind of started seeing it. And then I started showing my mom my Spanish music that I haven't released. And I was showing her, and she's like, whoa. She's like, yo,
She was really impressed.
Yeah, she was impressed with it. So I can see that they're like, yeah, they're cool with it now.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, they're being supportive.
One thing I noticed, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, in some of your songs, I noticed you don't really cuss that much, huh?
Yeah, no, I don't really cuss in my music.
Yeah, that's something that kind of like I was pretty impressed, because it's like, with cussing, I feel like it makes the song cool, I guess you could say, or it makes it like a little bit more aggressive. But without you cussing, just the way you deliver, your lyrics, it just felt the same as if you were cussing, but you weren't really doing it.
Basically, the way I see cussing in music is like, if I have an emotion I really need to get out, and I really can't get it out any other way, like, I'm gonna say it.
You use it as the tool.
But when you talk to me in person, like, I do cuss a lot, and it's a really bad habit. Like, everybody's always telling me, like, yo, like, you cuss a lot, and I'm like, I was like, shit, my bad.
I've noticed that about myself too. Dang, man.
No, but in my music, it's more like, if my parents are gonna hear my music, I want them to hear something good. You feel me? Like,
for sure,
not just a whole bunch of cuss words and shit. Because they'll point them out. They'll be like, "You said that word right there," or like, "You said this." You feel me?
Yeah. I think that's dope though, because you said your dad's a pastor, right?
Yeah.
That they're really supporting you with your music, because I know I'm just speaking just because of what I've seen before.
Right.
A lot of people that really follow religion really closely, they're not with that, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of rare you see that, they're letting you do what you want to do and pursue this dream of yours. So I honestly think that's pretty dope that they're actually, behind you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my mom's always been the one who's really like the most supportive one I can say, because she's just kind of seen that ever since I was little. Like I've just liked the instruments. Like it's just been music. And she even told me one day, she's like, I had a dream. Like this was like 2-3 years ago. She's like, I had a dream that you were like on a big stage and you were like singing for a big crowd.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
man.
she's like, I want you to like live up to that. And I was like,
damn.
I didn't want to
Gonna
tell
happen.
anything.
Yeah,
But
gonna
now
happen.
I'm like, yo, like mom, like I'm coming. You feel me?
Yeah,
that's
dope.
I like that.
That
I
is
like
dope. Now, I want to bring up something, and I'm just going to say, Milk, if you're watching this, and I know you will, I have to tell the story and I have to ask him because you're here. I heard a little story that the young era, when that started popping off, that somebody actually got that tattooed on them.
Yeah.
Is that true? Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's that was young era time right here.
The set, actual fan got that tattooed on them.
That's awesome.
Before even, and we were having a conversation while I was getting my haircut. I'm like, if someone's doing that, that's just the beginning.
Yeah,
'Cause
man.
It's gonna spread like wildfire after that.
That'd have been like someone in my set getting independent shiznit entertainment
Oh my god.
and then hitting me up 10 years later like,
bit of a mistake.
Yeah, no, dude,
I got a cover up tat, bro.
There's a fan page out there somewhere too with my name and shit. I was
Man.
like,
Wow.
I was like,
Page.
okay,
that's
yeah.
right. And
Just wait till they put you on Wikipedia,
Yeah.
right? Without you knowing anything, right?
Man, hey, it's actually kind of cool when I look myself up on Google sometimes. Like, one time they're like, "Yo, what's your fucking like image like on Google?" And I was like, I don't even think I'm up there.
Yeah.
And I look myself up, and there I fucking am, yo.
Yeah.
There's like there's like links to my fucking music. There's
Wow.
There's like
Okay.
pictures of me on Google and shit. I was like,
Yep.
hey, I was like, we lit.
You know, that I tried for the longest time to keep everything because I used to look myself up on Google and I would never see anything, right? Never. And then I messed everything up by getting on doing reality TV. And now all of a sudden I looked myself up and now I'm just like, dude, everything I see is false. It's all lies.
Damn.
But I remember like looking at a Wikipedia page. Yes, sir. Thank you. Looking at a Wikipedia page and stuff that they were saying on my Wikipedia about me. I was like, that's not right. None of that is true.
Yeah.
But it's.
No, I'm gonna stay on top of that, yo. If I see some shit, I'm gonna
I
report
let it
that
go.
shit. I'm like, report.
Oh, not me. I just I'm like, you know what? This is actually gonna be good because if there's all this like false information and people try to call me out on it, like, dude, I've got my information here.
Yeah.
My shit's legit. You know, if you're getting all your information against me on Wikipedia from Wikipedia, you're wrong.
Are you gonna believe everything on the internet for real?
I don't know,
right.
man. But I thought that was a crazy story when I heard that because I'm like, dang, that just shows something that people are really listening and that you have fans out there already, and you're just I feel like you're barely getting started. Like this is just a warm up.
Time.
This isn't even like a little day, yo.
Oh
like,
dang, okay.
Man.
Yeah, but it was like she was like, yeah, he has his own fan page, or they made a fan page for him.
Yeah.
Like, dang, that's crazy.
That is dope. That is dope. Selling shirts in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was the craziest thing that I did, to be honest. When I was like, I'm gonna get these 70 shirts sold in 2 weeks.
Man, that's hey. When we start selling merch, I'm calling you.
Hey, no,
Like,
hey,
hey.
no, that's why I was like, yo, I was like, I'm good at selling Kush.
Yeah.
I was like, these shirts ain't gonna be no
Apply those
different,
same
yo.
methods to what you're
Literally,
doing now.
I was like, I'm gonna be out there pushing this shit, yo.
Yeah, that's what it is,
This
right?
true.
Yeah.
Legally though.
Business.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet you didn't do taxes on it.
Damn.
We didn't hear anything. He kept the full.
Just throwing the fire out there.
Hey, y'all gotta cut this shit out the podcast, yo.
I'm just playing.
That's dope though.
Oh, shit.
So you have a gig coming up the 26th of this month, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
yeah, you want to talk about that and let people know right now since we got you live here on the camera. Just let them know
Yeah,
where
so
they can find you.
basically on the 26th, we're gonna be having a performance by me, and actually Guada's gonna slide through. He's in the Young Era crew.
Cool.
Yeah,
He was supposed to be here,
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
right?
supposed to be
Yeah.
here, but the dates got confused, and
For
he
sure,
was
for
he
sure.
had a flight for next week. But yeah, he's gonna be there performing a couple songs with me, as well as my boy Ross Klatt. He was on the 42 Hours project.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically she's showcasing like talent from barbers, and they're gonna be cutting hair. It's like some straight, like I say, like that's kind of hood shit, you know, like back in the hood, there's people cutting hair and shit. Like there's like live music and shit.
For sure.
Yeah, but it's gonna be cool, man. There's gonna be drinks. There's gonna be a live performance from me and some other rapper named Easy Bars.
Easy
Cool.
Bars. Okay.
Yeah.
Easy Bars. What was the other name? I'm sorry. Guada?
Guada, yeah.
Guada.
Yeah. Guada.
Sorry, I'm my Spanish sucks.
So is he?
Is that even Spanish though?
Guada? Oh,
Guada?
sounds Spanish to me.
Yeah, it sounds Spanish. We go with Spanish. So is he, aside from music, is he a really close friend to you?
Yeah, I actually I consider him a brother. Like, and it's
Cool.
funny because I started talking to him like I want to say like a year ago, like
Oh,
a year and
really?
a half.
Okay.
Music really brought us together because like we were just fucking working, yo. Like we just been like growing with each other, going to the studio and shit. Like kind of just made this like this pact, like yo, like we ain't gonna stop this shit. Like we gonna keep on going. You feel me?
Yeah.
There's actually 2 other people a part of the crew, but they're kind of taking care of like their own lives right now, trying to figure shit out. So you know, like they know their spot is here when they like want to start music and shit. But yeah,
Okay.
Man, I just love you have a good head on your shoulders. I love your focus. I love your drive. Your drive is amazing.
Yeah,
I'm
appreciate
super
that.
impressed with that. And I just think, man, you've it's you against the world right now, and the world is on your side. That's the thing.
For sure. And also another, I wanted to ask this. You're a father too, right?
yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah, my little baby boy.
nice. So with that, you know, being in play, how does I'm sure that's kind of like a force also motivating you, so you could, you know, possibly put him in the best position in his life when he grows up, right?
So, yeah, I mean, when I found out I was gonna be a father, like, especially because I wasn't with my son's mother at the time, you know, and I'm not with her, but it was kind of hard. I'm like, okay, like, how is this gonna play out? But I literally just like set all that aside, and I was like, you know what, like, this is for my kid, and it kind of like it built so much drive into me now, like. He's gonna be looking over my shoulder, you know, like what I'm doing. He's gonna be like seeing, and I really just want to be like successful for him, you know. So like he can grow up and be like, you know, like, that's my dad.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely been a big part of
So
it.
you
now.
were what 20 when you had him, or
19.
19.
Yeah.
19.
I'm 20 right now.
Yeah.
So how was that though? Like just knowing and like, you know, thinking to yourself, man, you know, I'm gonna have, you know, a little person to look, you know, raise
A
from here on out.
responsibility.
It's crazy
right?
now. I definitely like never saw it coming.
Yeah.
Especially because like the life that I lived and shit, and like all this, like you know,
Yeah.
my family, like yo, like that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like I'm a whole ass dad, yo. Like
Yeah.
you know,
Did you-
I cherish my kid. Like I'm with him a lot. Like
Yeah.
you
That's
know.
good.
Did it change you when you like? Did anything change from this? You knew that you were going to be having a baby, and then all of a sudden you had a baby. It's like I asked that because when I had my baby, it was like the second I held her, everything changed.
Everything changed. Yeah.
Everything.
No,
and I've
it's-
talked to so many people that have said that.
Yeah.
Same here. That's
So
what
I
I
was
even
just
told you.
wondering-
I even
yeah,
told you,
with you too.
yeah.
So that's why I'm wondering with you. Did that?
No, yeah, for sure. Because it's like, you know, you're gonna have a kid, and like, yeah, like it's just 9 months of being in the belly, and then like when you're when you're holding it, it's like, oh shit.
That's when it
Like,
becomes
this is
real.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is real.
And it's like you, and you're thinking, because that's one of the things that started to set my life back in order, because you know my life was just chaos. As soon as I held my little girl, I was like, man, you got to change. This is, and I knew I wasn't going to be with her mom. We were together when we had her, but I knew that we weren't going to stay together.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to plan a life with her because we're different. We're not. And, but I knew that with my little girl, I knew I had to focus on her. I knew that my life had to be, it's crazy, right? Because you
is
still have
crazy,
your
man.
goals. You still have your, you know, all
Yeah.
these things you want to do.
That's
But
one thing I told myself. But there's a lot of like people who, you know, they're gonna have kids, and they kind of just set aside their dreams to like
Yes.
get this shit. I was
Yeah.
like, no, like this means I just gotta go even harder.
yeah,
Okay.
man,
No,
that's
that's
good.
good.
It's good.
Amen to that, man. What'd your parents say when they found out?
When I told my mom, she was like, "You're playing."
Yeah.
So I was like, nah.
Dude.
I was like, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, no, you're playing. I was
Yeah.
like, no. I was like, I'm being for real, because we'd play like little jokes like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
before
yeah.
on her. So she was like, it kind of, she wasn't like, how do I say this? Like, she didn't act surprised because she didn't believe me. But then after it was real, she like cried. She came to me. She was crying. She's like, oh my God, you know, like I'm going to be a grandma or whatever. My dad was mad.
Yeah, of course.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, my dad was mad. But I mean,
I bet he's happy now, though.
Yeah.
But he's loving it.
Yeah, they're very close with my kid.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Dude, yeah, I mean, aside from that, I feel like we covered a lot of.
I just want to make sure that as far as from you, if there's anything else you want to put out there,
for sure.
This is the
time for you to speak. I think.
We are gonna have another 42-hour trip, so you can expect more music from that too.
Oh, dope!
We're gonna go out again on March, and we're gonna make more music. Same people, except it's gonna be dope though, cause like I know all of those guys. Like I know they're working. Like I know they've been fucking working and writing and making beats.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be dope. We're gonna get back together and do it more legit this time, like with an engineer, with a lot more photographers there.
Okay.
So it's gonna be all
Capture
like
the moment, everything.
like it's gonna be documented like even more.
Get ready.
And I'm just ready to see all their growth. You know, just like I'm pretty sure like they're ready to see my growth and see what we do this time.
For sure.
And also next week on the 24th and the 25th, I got invited by Chase Fade to a studio session.
Chase Fade.
With a lot of the big rappers in Seattle.
Okay.
Lil Mosey was invited. Say
he's a pretty
Travis
known
Thompson.
rapper here too, right?
Oh,
Lil Mosey.
Yeah, he's big.
Yeah.
Travis Thompson. So they invited all the artists that he thought were like up and coming. He invited them there. So like it's like a pretty big deal. Like everybody's trying to get into that session, but it's exclusive. It's like invite only. Yeah.
Damn,
so he like sent me the invite and shit. I posted it on my Instagram.
It sounds like you never sleep. You're always moving.
It just sounds to me like you just go.
Oh man, I'm trying, yo. I'm literally
awesome.
trying, dude. I'm trying to fucking do as much as I can this year. Like, you know,
for sure.
I realized last year I started out slow, but it's like nah. Fucking
man,
get out there and get it yourselves.
Just keep us posted, right?
Sure,
we'll certainly promote you, and you're definitely. I mean, you know, whatever we can do to help you, let us know.
Yeah, because I see, like what my friend was saying, that I see the drive and I see the motivation that you have to really get somewhere, and I feel like you will, like if you keep consistent. And
I appreciate that.
Stuff that we've even talked about off air. I think I've told you that the one thing, the name of the game right now would be just consistency. And just keep driving, key, and just keep going.
Being persistent,
and just kind of like avoid all the negative and avoid all the people that say just you're not gonna make it, blah blah blah. No, just
luckily I got thick skin, yo. I just put that shit. That shit just motivates me. I'm like, I'm like,
sure.
I was like, bad.
For sure.
I love it. Well, dude, you're an inspiration.
For
seriously,
sure,
seeing the young people come up like that, it's like, man, I wish I could get some years back and start, taking notes. But no, seriously,
But I feel like we're all kind of like on the same journey too, because we want to come up and in our field, with the podcast.
My rap album's coming out next month.
He was just joking about it. He's still active. But just in the sense of us coming up in the podcast world, we want to get further up there.
Yeah,
and
of course.
We even said it in 2020. We're gonna go hard, and this is the first one that we did this at the beginning of this year. So it's a good start for us, for you giving us the opportunity to talk
just
to
like
you
guys said, whatever you guys need, like I'm here too. Like I got you guys. You feel me? This right here is a part of our journey. This is history right here.
What it is, man.
This is history being made.
Yeah, sure. And we'll definitely have to catch up maybe at the end of the year or whenever
anything big comes up.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm curious to see that, because I love seeing those type of stories unfold to where I remember so and so when
we planted the seed today, right? Look when that tree grew.
No, for sure. We gotta get my boy.
For sure. Definitely. We'll have to definitely schedule
Carlos and Christian too, the other guys who are part of the crew. Once they get their shit started, man, they for sure have to be in here too.
We'll have the whole crew here, the whole Young Era crew here.
Make sure you subtitle your video so I can understand what you're saying.
It's funny because I thought about that. I'm like, when I post a song, like I'm gonna put the subtitles in like
no, don't do that shit.
I've thought about it.
I mean, it's different. You never seen it.
No, I think I honestly like I said when I was listening to the Cypress Hill all Spanish album, I loved it, and I didn't want it because if I wanted to listen, because it was they did like the same songs they did on one album, then they just did a Spanish version of it.
Yo, I've thought about that too. That's crazy.
It's man. I thought it was really cool, and with your audience and what you're doing with your music, dude, you can totally grow an audience that doesn't exist.
It's fucking hard though. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'll be spitting in Spanish, and I'm like, yo, like what if I should do this beat in English? And then I do it in English, and I'm like, yo. And then sometimes I fight on deliveries because I feel like my Spanish is like an alter ego or something.
Yeah.
Feel me? Like my delivery comes off a lot different in Spanish, and then sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't even say this right in English, and like, oh, it's a fucking battle. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, just keep doing both, and it'll fucking
it's like
pay
you have
off.
2 weapons.
Yeah,
Spanish,
literally.
English. You know what I'm saying? So
like
it's
it.
a good thing to have, man. It's a good thing to have.
New era,
New
young
era.
Bree.
Yeah, for sure. So for everybody watching, catch this on YouTube. We also have the audio versions on Spotify, Tune FM Radio, and Apple Podcasts. We want to say thank you to Young Bree for coming through.
Appreciate you guys.
Give
How
us
do
some
people
time.
get a hold of you on social
let me
media?
know,
You guys can find me on MySpace.
Taking it back.
I just updated my MySpace page too.
I can't even find mine.
Yo, I can still log in on my little. Nah, y'all can find me on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Instagram. I go by YUNGBRE, Young Bree.
Cool.
Basically,
We will
all
add
social
all
media.
those links to
sure, for
our
sure.
YouTube page so people can find you with those links there.
Appreciate that.
So this wraps it up. Thank you for everybody that's following us through. And again, this is the beginning of something great. 2020, we're coming in strong, and this is just a small taste of what's more to come. So
Sir.
thank you.